me then now, how did you manage to build your personal brand whilst, working for that corporate? And I remember that 3 years ago when we met, actually, I asked you this question. But, tell us briefly how you manage actually to build your own personal brand while working for a big corporate.
Well, it's a really good question. I've been speaking to some people in similar professional services firms recently about this creative tension between your own brand and the company brand. Let me tell you that when I joined IBM, they hired me partly because of my personal brand. I was consulting. When I would go in front of a major IBM client, I'd be a bit cheeky because I'm Australian and I'm an extrovert. And I'd say, look, before we start the meeting, you tell me the first thing that you did when you saw my name on the meeting invite. They said, well, we put your name into Google or LinkedIn. And so I learnt the power of your own personal brand, not to just promote yourself selfishly, but if I'm going to be put forward and my team's going to be put forward on a multi-million-dollar deal with an IBM client, they need to know who they're going to get. And so if you do actually Google Andrew Grill, there are actually 16 Andrew Grills in the world. So it's not a completely unique name. But I like to think that I actually own the front page of Google, because if you type my name in, what comes up? My LinkedIn page, my blog page, my speaking page, all those sort of things. And so I know that that's what comes up when a client or a prospective client puts my name into Google or LinkedIn. And what I want them to see is my body of work, that if they would hire me or engage me, that I'm going to be the right person for the job. So it's not about, it's a really fine line about, being a jerk and saying, hey, I'm amazing, look at me, look at my brand, and realizing the power. Now, I actually put a value on my personal brand. When I negotiated my salary to join IBM, amazingly, they asked me what I should be paid. And I had a figure in mind. And I added to that figure an amount that I thought my personal brand was worth. And they said yes. Now, I would probably value my personal brand a bit higher these days than what it was. And I won't tell you what it was, but it was a significant percentage of my annual salary that actually I think was part of the personal brand. The other thing is that when I got into IBM, people could see that I didn't just stop being me. I kept blogging, I kept doing my public speaking, I kept being invited onto podcasts and video casts like this one. And what was amazing was the long-term IBMers, those had been there for 30 years or so, said, teach me how to do this. We're seeing that you're winning work and you're getting onto RFPs that we would never get onto before because people know who you are. I managed to create about $100 million of incremental value for IBM while I was there, using my personal brand as a way to allow clients to understand why they should choose us over a competitor. So I can honestly say personal branding is useful in a corporate environment. There are corporates like IBM that actually value people to have their own personal brand. And I think if I was to work for a company where they said, look, you've got to stop blogging, you've got to stop tweeting, you've got to stop public speaking, we just want you to work for the firm, they're missing out. But it does take a certain type of person. You can't go and say, look, everyone has to have a personal brand. You all have to be on social media and speaking. I think we might talk about this in a moment, the notion of eminence. If you are really well known in your field outside your organization, the organization should embrace that and see how they can leverage that while you're there.